don't know if you guys watched last week's vlog, but it's February 28th, so I'm doing like this week's vlog like now. I was filming the outro for last week, but we're gonna continue vlogging for the next week or whatever. But I'm about to get my nails done. They were hearts for February / my birthday / Valentine's Day, and I'm thinking of doing like green chrome for St. Patrick's Day / March. So I'll show you guys what the nails look like when we are done. This is editing me here. I forgot to film my nails after I got them done. So this is what they look like. I got green chrome nails, and editing me is gonna keep interjecting to fill in where real me has just obviously filled. Just auditioned to sing the national anthem for the minor league baseball team in our area, which is the Reading Fightin' Phils. I live outside of Philadelphia, so the MLB team is the Phillies. But they had open auditions, and I was like, I don't know, why not go? So I just auditioned. I should hopefully hear back from them later today, but we'll see. So exciting. Okay, excuse me for being out of breath in that last clip. That's my that's my dash cam. But yeah, so the minor league baseball team in our area, the Reading Fightin' Phils, they always have like open auditions for the anthem, and I just auditioned, but I ran back inside to make sure I put my email address in correctly because I have a really weird name. So I was like, I don't know, I just like panically put my email in because I knew the person who was doing like registration, and I don't know, I just wanted to check. But it moved so fast. The auditions don't even start until 10 a.m. but I heard somebody singing, so I was like, oh, like I'll go inside and put my name down. Like, I don't know if there's a list, so I'm just gonna go like put my name in, and they're like, oh, like follow me back this way, and I got my lucky number, which was lucky number 7, so I felt happy about that. But yeah, they just ended up like being like, come on back and audition. So I sang, and I'm not sure how it went. Hopefully it went well. They did say I'm qualified to sing there, but obviously I don't know what that means. So hopefully I'll hear from them later and we'll see what happens. Okay, back to editing me. So eventually what ended up happening was I did not hear from them that day. Even though they said that I would hear from them that day, I ended up hearing from them on that Monday because I auditioned on a Saturday. And I guess during the auditions, they were looking for like a winner to sing for like opening day for the game, and they picked the winner. Obviously it wasn't me, and they ended up putting the rest of us who auditioned and who were qualified like on a backup list. So as they have openings, we'll be notified from that list to come and perform. So we'll see if I hear from them this season. That'd be great if I do. Not gonna like hold out hope for them like actually contacting me, but if they do, that'd be fantastic. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm lying down on the couch. This week has been very busy, so you're probably gonna get like another mishmash of like 2 weeks for vlogs, and like 1 week most likely like next week. But I forget what week it is, but I'll check when I go on my channel to upload. But anywho, it's been a really busy week for me. I donated blood yesterday, and a quick PSA to donate blood when you can. I'm O negative. Also, these are VHS tapes. Ignore that and the random shoe, and then that's my Peloton. Just a quick PSA to donate blood when you can. I'm O negative, so I always try to make it a priority to donate blood where I can. It's really easy to donate blood. Just kind of Google like local blood drives near me, and I'm sure you can find like a local drive going on, or find a website that can help you find drives. In my area, there's a website I use called Miller Keystone, but that's just like really local to where I am. The American Red Cross definitely is national and way bigger, and they definitely do blood drives all over the country, like all day, every day. So even if you're afraid of needles, I promise you it's not bad. It's definitely worth it, and you can save so many lives from donating blood. So do it. Donate blood. Do it if you can. I understand that some people can't, but if you can, I highly encourage you to do it. But I want to talk about I can't remember if it's episode 8. I think it's episode 8 of The Last of Us, or whatever the most recent episode was that came out on the March 5th. Somebody just left their apartment, and the sound of their door was so loud. But that was a difficult episode in general. It's in the game, and again, I'm about to talk about spoilers, so if you haven't watched The Last of Us, if you're planning to watch The Last of Us, skip the rant that I'm about to talk about because you are gonna get spoilers. But in the game, it's the first time that you actually play as Ellie. And when I was watching Julian Solomita do a game playthrough, I was like, oh my god, like he's finally Ellie. Like it was just such a oh my goodness moment. And Joel is obviously incapacitated, and Ellie's trying to find medicine for him, and that's where we come across Creepy David and his whole group. But it's like the first time that Ellie kind of has to get herself out of a situation and not know that Joel most likely will come to help her. There's like a creator to creator I think like discussion or like a creator discussion at the end of every episode. And they were talking about like how we always expect Joel to just come like bursting in. And like obviously he comes to because he got the antibiotics that Ellie got for him. And he is like on the warpath to go and find Ellie because he knows that like Ellie's in trouble, but he doesn't make it in time. And Ellie definitely has to defend herself against the disgusting creep that is David. But I did think it was interesting that in the show, the person that Ellie like kills with the meat cleaver in that one scene where David and that guy are like interrogating her, the guy that she kills with the meat cleaver is actually the original Joel from the video game. So like the video game was based, like, I don't know how the technology is, but they like use real people and like the voice actors to kind of like play out the movements and the voices and stuff for Joel and Ellie. So that was Joel's actual, like the original Joel. And then the original Ellie we're gonna see in the season finale, because she's gonna play, I think her name is Ashley Johnson. She's going to play Ellie's mom. This episode that's coming this weekend, I think that's Sunday the 12th. I could be wrong. But anywho, whatever the next episode is, this is going to be the last episode of the season. And supposedly it's like only 45 minutes. So people are already complaining because we want to know. Like, I feel like it's a lot to wrap up. If you know the game, you know what's going to happen next. And you know like how it's going to end. But I just feel like there's a lot to kind of go through before the series just like ends. But they did get renewed for a second season. I'm so happy they got renewed for a second season because then we'll get to play like The Last of Us. Not play, but watch like The Last of Us Part 2. I don't know why I'm doing that. But I mean, we would see The Last of Us Part 2. And seeing how well that they did justice to part 1, I'm so excited to see what they do with part 2. I just know they're going to do it really, really well. The whole episode and the cannibals, oh my god, David's group being cannibals. It felt bad for the girl in the show who like David backhands. Like the young girl who's like asking like if her dad can be buried, and he's like, oh, we gotta bury your dad in the spring. Like the ground is frozen. Because she's eating him, like her dad's just like the dinner, I'm pretty sure, and it's just disgusting. And I remember in the game when I saw like Joel come try to save Ellie, and then like he busts into like one of the cabins and just see like individuals who are unalived like hanging from the rafters like cattle. It's disgusting. But yeah, I'm excited to see how they wrap up the show. I'm not ready for it to be over because it's been so good in general. The most recent episode, I was definitely crying at the end because I just felt like so bad for Ellie, because Ellie just really changes after that moment. Like after that point in the game too, like you can just tell that like something snapped in her, and I don't know that it ever gets fixed, but yeah, she's just like never the same. It's definitely like a turning point, obviously, for her character and just for her whole demeanor kind of like going forward, which is completely understandable. But yeah, I'll try to do better with vlogging this week. I say that every week. I'm so sorry. I'll do my best. We're back to this view. It's been a long time since we've kind of had a cook with me and chat with me. So go get a snack. Go make dinner too if you want to. And hang out with me while I make dinner. Also, side note before I launch into my rant on the finale of The Last of Us Season 1 and how wonderful it was. If you guys at all enjoy like lime and Coke, like I love Diet Coke and lime, or like Coke Zero and lime. And I saw on TikTok somebody say that you can get like lime packets to put in your like drinks or whatever, and then it's just like adding a real lime wedge. So I went and I got some like True Lime packets, and let me tell you, I think like 50 come in a box. This is what a packet looks like, and you just add it to your drink and then add your beverage of choice, and honestly it gives it a nice little lime kick. And it's super nice because it's 0 calories, it's 0 sugar, there's like less than, like not even a gram of carbs in them, if you care about macros. But yeah, this ish is good. And speaking of drinks, let me put Diet Cokes in my freezer because I forgot to put them in the fridge. Also, okay, quick story. Don't put Diet Coke in your freezer and forget about it. I know people watching are probably like, you keep Diet Cokes in your freezer? No, I don't. I usually keep them in my fridge, but I kind of will forget to restock the fridge with Diet Coke or like beverages or whatever. So when I'm making dinner, I'll quickly throw it in the freezer, and then like by the time I'm done making dinner, it's like perfectly cold and like nice and crispy and wonderful. I was making dinner and I had a meeting I had to call into at like 7 o'clock at night. So I had put one in there, and then I had left another one in there for my husband for dinner, and then I guess he didn't realize that I had left him one. And the next morning, like cue the next morning, and I'm like working and we hear like a really loud like bang and we're like, what the flying hell was that? And I just figured it was somebody else in like somebody else's apartment. No. So I go downstairs, I open the freezer. It's the Diet Coke can. When I tell you the lid legitimately like flew off the can, it split right down the middle and just Diet Coke everywhere. I mean, it was all frozen, but my freezer still has remnants of Diet Coke. I need to like completely empty it out, clean it, and then, you know, get rid of the Diet Coke. But just don't leave it in your freezer. I'm telling you, don't do it. Drink water, hydrate. You might tell me that you don't need to. Yeah, you do. I know you need to. Drink some water. We are making this pesto whole grain pasta that has shrimp in it. It's a Blue Apron recipe. Let me grab the necessary materials. Alright, also I'm in gremlin mode because I just took a fat nap and it's like already 7 o'clock, so we're gonna make dinner. First thing I have to do is fill a medium pot of water with... Alright, now that that is done, we need to cut up produce, which really is just a zucchini. Some zucchini. I don't know if any of you have seen a series of unfortunate events on Netflix, but every time I just hear the word pasta, and I understand pasta can mean a million different things, I just always think of like pasta puttanesca. And if you know the books and if you've seen the show, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So while that water boils, because you know, a watch pot never boils, even though it does, let's talk about the ending of The Last of Us. Warning, spoilers. Also spoilers for season 2 of The Last of Us, so if you're not interested in hearing any spoilers, this is a knife. I probably shouldn't wave it around like that. Don't watch this. And I'll see you next week. But, honestly, it's kind of surreal in my mind that we're already at the end of The Last of Us. I think I started watching when like 3 episodes were out, I think is when I started to watch. I mean, it just blows my mind like how far Joel and Ellie have come and how much of a journey they've like had together and how much they have done together. I mean, you think of like just Joel starting out at like the Boston QZ and like Tess and then Tess dying and, you know, trying to originally find Tommy and going to the university, I think it was of Colorado, and like nobody was there, and then they went somewhere else, and just having to trek across so many different areas, going through like different cities, encountering so many different people just to make it to where they are today. And when I first learned like what happened in the game, I was shook because I really thought that he was going to take her there, that they were going to like get what they needed from Ellie and then Ellie would live her happy little life. But I mean, why should we ever expect anything so nice from people who make like video games and shows? They don't care about our feelings, like whatever. I know that there's a lot of debate on the internet about if Joel should have done what he did to save Ellie. And I don't have children. I don't have kids. Obviously, I've never had kids. I've never experienced the kind of loss that he did. And I don't have that kind of parental feeling of what it would be like to have a child. But if I did, like in a fake believe world where I did have a child, I completely understand his actions. And I think that he did what he had to do because A, he just couldn't afford to like go through that kind of a loss again, because I really do think it would have broken him, like for good. I think he would have just been like kaputzed. And Marlene tells him like, oh yeah, she's being prepped for surgery, but he's like, but cordyceps is in the brain. And she's like, yeah, we know, like she won't survive. I mean, like you can obviously tell that that Joel is completely different than the Joel that you saw at the beginning. Like he's learned to love again. He's learned to form emotional attachments. He's learned to care about other people. Not saying that he didn't care about Tess, but like he was really cold about it. You could just see that he's come very like 360 when it comes to his emotions and working through one of the most traumatic things in his life, which was losing Sarah. And I know he definitely, I don't think he ever calls Ellie his daughter or considers her like, this is my daughter, but like I don't think he says it. I think maybe mentally he thinks it, but I just don't think he can stand to lose her again. And I think that when he goes and he kills all the doctors and the nurses and he saves Ellie, and Ellie wakes up and is like, did we make a vaccine? Did we not? And Joel like lies to her about everything that happened and tells her like the Fireflies had a bunch of people who like were immune and you weren't needed and they don't know how to make a vaccine, so they're just not going to do it. I mean, Ellie's smart enough to know and realize that he's definitely lying, but she just kind of takes what he says, because I feel like even her mental state at that point is really fragile. She just goes along with what he says. And again, like you come down to that question of should he have saved her life for the sake of everybody else's? But it's like that really classic like dilemma that you're always met with in ethical situations, or if you've ever taken an ethics class or even just pondered it. Like if you had a train and there's 2 tracks and you can flip the switch. And one way goes towards a bunch of like, I don't know, let's just say like people or like young kids. And then the other one goes towards like one heavier human being. Would you pull the switch and which would you direct a train to? Because whoever you want alive is who you're going to save. And it's like, is one life worth the many, or is one life like, is all life sacred? And should you take one life if it means saving so many? Or do you respect the fact that everybody deserves a chance to live? And I don't know, I just feel like the Fireflies too, like, okay, hold on. In the show, and even in the game, they talk about how cordyceps is in the brain, and the only way to like get cells to multiply them in like a petri dish to like grow them in culture and, you know, get whatever they need to like make and reverse engineer like a vaccine involves killing her. Have we ever heard of a biopsy? Like, who are these people? So sometimes I kind of wonder too if he also did it because like it just makes no sense. Like, why would you kill somebody? Like, I just... In the early 2000s, I think technology was advanced enough to take biopsies. And like, I'm wondering if, since this is the pandemic, if like people who are not fully human medical doctors are the ones in the situation. I don't know. I haven't finished watching Julian Solomita play The Last of Us Part 2, so I don't know if we ever find that out. I'm just like, do you have to kill her though? Like, do we? Like, are we sure? And I think too, we're also met with a situation where Ellie was never asked what she wanted. I think people in the game know that she probably would have given up her life if it meant even the faintest possibility of having a vaccine, because to her, she feels like so many people have lost their lives to bring her to where she is today. Like, what's her life in comparison? Or that it's like only justified that she gives her life in order to make other people's deaths mean something compared to meaning absolutely nothing. I wonder if they had asked her, and if Joel saw her be like, this is what I want to do and this is my purpose, if he would have fought with her or like taken her that way. But sometimes I just don't know that like he could have even handled like having that discussion. And then like you just see Joel go on that absolute like blinding rage. He's just like taking people out left and right just to get to Ellie. He gets Ellie. Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Starting now.
But yeah, I think it raises that question of like, how far would you go for your own children? I know Ellie's not his child, but to make sure that they're safe. And I feel like if I were a parent, I would go to the ends of the world. If it meant tearing down every single building just to get to my child, I probably would. I know I would. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I think it was very well done. It feels like it went by so quick. I think it was only 9 episodes. And there's definitely going to be a second season, so that will enter us into The Last of Us Part 2. And I obviously don't think we're going to be seeing that anytime, obviously this year or next year. Probably 2025, I feel. Late 2024 being optimistic. But I also think it's just really cool how they decided to take a video game that had such an absolutely beautiful story and adapt it into a show. I see a lot of critics saying that The Last of Us, even as a game, is probably one of the best stories and video games like out there. I'm not really big into video games. This could be offending people, and if it is, like, I don't care. But I agree. I think it's a beautiful story. I think the writers who made the game and then adapted it with, you know, the show creators, they did such a beautiful job of making you like panic and like question a lot of choices, but also understand like where things came from. And they just lead you on such a long journey that when you get to the end, you're like, oh my god, like we're here. But then you stop and you think of the entire road to get there and you're like, whoa, like we really came far. But now I have to move to the stove to finish cooking, so I'll probably pick back up a little bit later. Finger pew pews apparently. And yeah, we'll take that conversation from there. But yeah, those are my initial opinions. If you haven't watched the show, if you skipped this rant, if you did watch this show, let me know what you think. I would love to know what you think about this show. I just can't stop thinking about it. And it's just so good. So let me know your thoughts. Okay, this is editing me here and ignore the glare from my glasses. But one final note on The Last of Us that I just kind of thought about today, and I saw somebody talking about this on TikTok, so it got me thinking about it, was that they were saying that like you can't make a vaccine from a fungus. So like what was the point of even trying to make a vaccine from Ellie anyways? And also they start the whole season off with that little talk show talking about like how you can't prevent a fungal infection and how there's no vaccine for fungus. And then, you know, you're met with that like disease expert who's like, no, you can't make a vaccine, just like bomb the cities. So like, would you even be able to reverse engineer anything? I don't know. I'm a little bit doubtful. I think that was just some interesting information that I came across and just also didn't think about. But anywho, that's my spiel. I thank you for being patient with me as per the usual over these last 2 weeks in this mishmash of footage. I hope that you have a wonderful week ahead. If you're new to my channel, hey, my name is Pyle. It's really nice to meet you. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. It's so nice to have you. You can subscribe to my channel if you want to. You don't have to, but it definitely would help me out if you did. And if you have any opinions on The Last of Us, if you have any strong feelings, comment them. Let me know what you think. But I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you later.